I'm Tracy Sabol. Tonight on EWTN News Nightly, frustration and disappointment. Israeli leaders weigh in on President Biden's decision to withhold weapons for an all-out assault on Rafah. We have the latest. Still Speaker. What's next for Mike Johnson after the attempt by fellow Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene to oust him from his position? Cause for concern. A report from Brazil as the country deals with deadly flooding and mudslides with more bad weather on the way. And feeling bullish in Rome. Pope Francis makes an official announcement about the Jubilee Year. These stories and more tonight.
From EWTN, the Global Catholic Network, this is EWTN News Nightly.
Thank you for being with us. Our top story tonight, the strained alliance over Israel's war and America's weapons. The city of Rafah is now a flashpoint, and what happens there could change friend to foe. If Israel invades, the president is threatening to withhold arms, both speaking bluntly about what's at stake.
If we have to stand alone, we will stand alone. I have already said that if we have to, we will fight with our nails.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem.
The divide between the U.S. and Israel is causing headaches on the Hill. Lawmakers on both sides are speaking out. Capitol Hill correspondent Eric Rosales joins us now with the latest. Eric?
Good evening, Tracy. Tension is running high among Republican lawmakers, especially after President Biden announced a major policy shift, saying that the U.S. will stop supplying some weapons to Israel altogether if it invades Rafah. The move has Republicans feeling deceived because billions in aid approved by Congress is now being held up.
You know, here's Joe Biden on Holocaust Remembrance Day saying he's standing beside the Jewish people, standing beside Israel, but with his other hand, he's holding weapons from going to Israel that have been basically ordered or paid for by Congress.
The so-called humanitarian aid to Gaza was seized by Hamas. So here we're giving Hamas aid, we're denying it to our ally Israel. I mean, I can't figure it out.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists on a Rafah offensive to destroy the last remaining stronghold of Hamas in Gaza, despite repeated U.S. warnings about the humanitarian impact on more than 1 million Gazans sheltering in the city. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders says holding of aid should have come a lot sooner.
We are sitting on billions of dollars of military support for Israel, which the president could deny them tomorrow. Netanyahu understands that we have enormous leverage, and the time is long overdue for us to utilize that leverage.
I believe that Israel and America have an ironclad relationship, and I have faith in what the Biden administration is doing.
Republicans say the U.S. shouldn't dictate how Israel should fight.
That the delay of shipment of weapons to Israel is just another way of trying to tell an ally how to conduct the war.
Senator Kevin Cramer tells me the move demonstrates a strain within the Democratic Party that's much bigger than people once thought. He says it's not just anti-Semitic, but pro-terrorist.
They lobbied and spent whatever little political capital they had to get the funds, and then they turned around and withhold the funds. I think it demonstrates why Donald Trump is probably going to prevail in this next election. It's one more example of chaos over peace.
After President Biden issued his threat to withhold weapons, Prime Minister Netanyahu released a statement saying Israel will stand alone if needed to fight Hamas, and add, quote, "We will fight to our fingernails." At the Capitol, Eric Rosales, EWTN News Nightly.
Despite bringing a motion to vacate House Speaker Mike Johnson, Democrats joined almost all Republicans to overwhelmingly reject Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's latest move.
The form of the resolution is as follows: declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant.
House Majority Leader Steve Scalise moved quickly to table the removal resolution. Prior to the vote, the Georgia Republican denounced Johnson's decision To package a government funding bill, a measure to reauthorize the United States warrantless surveillance powers, and most recently a foreign aid package that included billions of dollars in aid for Ukraine. Afterwards, Speaker Johnson spoke with reporters.
I want to say that I appreciate the show of confidence from my colleagues to defeat this misguided effort. That is certainly what it was. Hopefully, this is the end of the personality politics and the frivolous character assassination that has defined the 118th Congress. It's regrettable. It's not who we are as Americans, and we're better than this. We need to get beyond it.
Some Republicans say Congresswoman Green could face disciplinary action for attempting to sow disunity in the party. Although Democrats came to Speaker Johnson's aid this time, there is no reassurance from leader Hakeem Jeffries if it happens again. Well, in New York City, former President Donald Trump was back in court today, and after hours of questioning over 2 days, Stormy Daniels concluded her testimony. Prosecutors say Trump and others schemed to influence the 2016 presidential election by buying and bearing negative stories that might hurt his campaign. White House correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen.
Former President Donald Trump says he's not guilty, and walking into court today ripped the ongoing case against him by using the words of others. As he often does before heading into his trial, former President Donald Trump first addressed reporters, and he brought up his gag order.
I just want to let you know that we've just filed a major motion in the appellate division concerning the absolutely unconstitutional gag order, where I'm essentially not allowed to talk to you about anything meaningful that's going on in the case.
Then he read comments off a piece of paper from what he says others have stated about the trial.
The top legal scholars in the country, this is a Frankenstein case. They took a dead misdemeanor, they attached it to a dead alleged federal felony and zapped it back into life. I've been doing this for 60 years and I don't understand what crime he's been charged with. Nobody understands this. I just don't get the crime. There's no evidence of any crime whatsoever. This is a sham.
Inside the courtroom, Stormy Daniels returned once again to the witness stand, the defense attorney accusing Daniels of slowly altering the details of an alleged 2006 sexual encounter with Trump, trying to persuade jurors that she could not be believed. In an interview last night, President Joe Biden, while ripping Trump over his time in office,
the way he managed the end of his last year when we were dealing with COVID,
also said he's only following the Trump trial on the evening news. It could be the only criminal case against Trump to go to trial before the November election. Trump also attacked Biden today for withholding a military shipment to Israel.
What Biden is doing with respect to Israel is disgraceful.
Tonight, President Biden returns to the campaign trail, this time out west raising cash. He's traveling to San Francisco, California, and Seattle, Washington for a 3-day fundraising swing. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.
Today is Victory Day in Russia. The former communist country honors those who were killed in the Second World War. The patriotic pageantry included a military parade. The festivities focused especially on the victory over Nazi Germany nearly 80 years ago. The then Soviet Union lost around 27 million people in the war. These days, President Vladimir Putin is training his sights on the West, which he says is trying to start global conflicts.
We reject claims of exclusivity by any state or alliance. We know what the exorbitance of such ambitions leads to. Russia will do everything to prevent global confrontation, but at the same time, we will not allow anyone to threaten us. Our strategic forces are always in combat readiness.
All right, for analysis, we turn to Stephen Sestanovich, Senior Fellow for Russian and Eurasian Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations. Stephen, great to be with you today. So what did you make of President Vladimir Putin's remarks, including what he said about the war in Ukraine and also about the West?
Well, building a sort of national consensus around the World War II victory is part of Putin's project. He is trying to associate himself with what he sees as a glorious past. It was a speech that didn't focus a whole lot on Ukraine because the past is more popular than the present. But it did include a real focus on the West as the big enemy, more than Ukraine itself. And he's trying to build Russian patriotism around the idea that the West is trying to destroy Russia.
And in Ukraine, we know that Russia has targeted some of the energy infrastructure there. Let's talk more about that and the strategy behind it.
Well, Putin has ramped up attacks on Ukraine. There have been a record number of missiles in the past week attacking power plants and dams and so forth. It looks as though it's a kind of race to beat the resumption of Western aid. He knows that the aid is about to surge, and he wants to punish the Ukrainians before they get the new air defenses that will help them resist Russian attacks.
Before we run out of time here, I want to talk about this. Earlier this week, Chinese President Xi Jinping announced an alliance with Serbia. Tell us more about this relationship, and should the U.S. be concerned?
Well, China has been associating itself with countries in Europe that are kind of hostile to or disengaged from the Western alliance. So he stopped in Hungary rather, because Hungary is probably the most dissident member of NATO. He stopped in Serbia, which has been the home of the Chinese embassy that was mistakenly attacked in the Kosovo War 25 years ago, and he's pledged a limitless alliance with Putin. So it's an attempt to sort of fortify the anti-Western coalition.
All right, and before we let you go, final thoughts.
Well, Putin did a lot of saber rattling here in his speech, and that's one thing to bear in mind. He has read that American analysts took his earlier nuclear threat seriously, and he's trying to remind us he's still got those weapons.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Stephen, thank you so much for your analysis today. Appreciate it. And we have a lot more still to come here on EWTN News Nightly, including in hot water, analysis of a new report saying there are record-breaking temperatures in the oceans, and an update from Brazil on the deadly flooding and mudslides. Welcome back. Dangerous storms are sweeping across the southern United States, leaving a 10-year-old boy in serious condition. In Tennessee, a couple documented the ferocious winds and rain. This was part of the torrential rains and tornadoes this week, stretching from the plains to the Midwest and now hitting the South. And in Spring Hill, Tennessee, one person shot video of a tornado as it was touching down. The National Weather Service says that there is an enhanced risk of severe weather for several states. All right, now to Brazil, where the death toll there tops 100 people amid heavy flooding. And there is more bad news as the forecast this weekend calls for another set of storms. More than 230,000 people have been displaced by the flooding and mudslides in the southern part of the country. Authorities say on top of the death toll, another 130 people are missing. Authorities say some residents have refused to leave their belongings behind. Others are returning home despite the forecast this weekend. And joining us now is Dion Pioneer with Teams of Our Lady, an international Catholic movement for Christian married couples that is helping with the relief efforts for those impacted by the unprecedented flooding in southern Brazil. Dion, thank you so much for being with us. And please know that we're praying for all of you in Brazil right now. We have seen, of course, the images of the flooding and the devastation, but undoubtedly it is nothing like experiencing it firsthand. Can you describe for us what you've seen?
Yes, it is scenery like if it was like a war. We're having very bad situations here. We have seen most of the state, our state of Rio Grande do Sul, the lowest state in Brazil, being hit by this catastrophe. And most of the towns have had floods and landslides. So they have been washed away. They have been very badly impacted. And there is a scenery of destruction all over us.
It's so hard to imagine. As I mentioned, you're with the teams of Our Lady, volunteering and helping those in the Diocese of Caxias do Sul who've been hit really the hardest by the flooding and landslides. Tell us more about what your organization is doing.
Well, as the teams of Our Lady, we are helping our parishes and our bishop on supporting all the people that are in need at this moment. We are doing lots of emergency actions at this moment together with the governors and everyone in our country. So the main actions are to rescue and to feed and protect and give shelter to the people that are in need at this moment.
And what would you say, Dion, are the biggest needs right now for people?
Well, we need to feed people, so we are asking for donations for food, water. Water is missing. Most of the towns do not have any of their basic structure anymore. So we need water, we need food, we need clothing, bedding items, mattresses, and hygiene items, cleaning supplies. There's lots to be done.
And before I let you go, Dion, what else would you like people to know about what's happening in Brazil right now? And in addition to prayers, how can we help?
Well, our government has established even a channel for international donations. So we are having a very bad situation at this moment, and I want people to know that this is not going to be solved in a few days. It's going to take a long, long time for us to reestablish, to rebuild our state and to bring people back to their homes or to new homes, since most of them were washed away and do not exist anymore. So we count on the world's prayers and thoughts, but we also need donations to fund all this reconstruction that has to be done.
And Dion, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us about all this. Thank you for what you're doing, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Well, the latest data from the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service show that April was the hottest month on record for global sea surface temperatures. Last month's measurement came in at 68.97 degrees Fahrenheit. It is the 13th consecutive month that a record was set. The majority of carbon dioxide is trapped in oceans, which could lead to devastating consequences. On this topic, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops says in part concern for the environment calls us to respect human life and dignity. We have a responsibility to care for the poor and vulnerable who are most affected and least heard. And here with more on the latest report from the Copernicus Climate Change Service is Dr. Aaron Lowe's, a Catholic environmental theologian and senior manager of the Laudato Si Animators program with the Laudato Si movement. Aaron, good to have you back on the show. Great to see you. So can you help our audience digest these record-breaking temperatures in our oceans?
Sure. Well, as you said, the temperatures are record-breaking. The ocean has now broken temperatures every day for more than a year. As NASA describes it, the oceans have a fever. This may remind you of last July when temperatures in Florida hit 101 degrees.
Aaron, a lot of people may ask, well, is this really a big concern? Should we be concerned about this? Are oceans warming up, and why?
It's absolutely a big concern. It causes suffering around the world. It reduces biodiversity and diminishes fisheries, and huge numbers of people globally depend on fish for their food, for their protein, and also for their livelihoods. And furthermore, we see that sea level rise accompanies the warming of the oceans.
Yeah, and Aaron, as we know, Pope Francis, he's been very vocal about the effects of climate change. What has been the message in his writings, especially Laudato Si and most recently Laudate Deum?
Well, in Laudato Si, the Pope reminds us that we all have a moral responsibility to care for creation. He says specifically, this is neither optional nor secondary for every Christian. And in Laudate Deum, he strongly reminds us that we need to take action, we need to raise our voices and work for change. He describes this in Laudato Si as civic and political love, which is a wonderful way of looking at how we enact our love for each other by raising our voices, sharing our values, and calling for the change that we need in our energy systems so that it truly can be healthy for all people.
Yeah, and as Catholics, we're all called to be good stewards of God's creation. We know that. What are some practical ways that we as Catholics can help do that?
Catholics have a tremendous opportunity to take action through the Laudato Si Action Platform, which is a guideline for sustainable activity supported by the Vatican, meant for all dioceses, universities, parishes, and Catholic families. It's a tremendous guideline.
Well, Aaron, great to be with you again, and thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Up next on EWTN News Nightly, Marching for Life. Thousands of pro-lifers in Canada are speaking out against the country's pro-abortion policies. Plus, Pope Francis presides over an important milestone as the church heads toward the Jubilee Year 2025. Appeals court has dismissed a lawsuit against a Catholic school in Charlotte, North Carolina. The case involved a substitute teacher who was not rehired after it was revealed that he had entered into a same-sex union. The ruling affirmed that religious schools can hold employees to the moral teachings of the church. In Canada, thousands of people took to the streets in Ottawa today as part of the National Canadian March for Life. Pro-lifers rallied despite the rainy weather. They want lawmakers to recognize the right to life for all. The first march was held in 1998. Since then, it has grown significantly. Canada has one of the most permissive abortion laws in the world, allowing abortion up until the moment of birth. Finally tonight, Pope Francis officially proclaims the beginning of 2025 Jubilee Year.
Il Dio della speranza che riempie di ogni gioia e pace.
In remarks at St. Peter's Basilica, the Holy Father emphasized that the main theme of the Jubilee Year is hope. And the opening words of the Vatican Bull of Benediction are, "Hope does not disappoint." Long passage of the bull were read during Vespers at the Vatican. Jubilee years take place every 25 years, and the one next year is set to bring millions of pilgrims to Rome. We thank you for watching tonight. Remember, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, X, and Instagram at EWTN News Nightly. I'm Tracy Sabol. Good night, and God bless.